that's not the result that I thought it was going to be. We go to Villa. This is TSM's map. Soniqs starting on defense. Operator bands Sledge and Dokkaebi. All right.
All right, so starting with the target ban onto Achieved, of course, his most played operator. Dokkaebi, a very common ban for TSM. They've used it in 4 games in the group stage against various teams on various maps. Valkyrie, common information operator. You always gotta remove that if you wanna play in the shadows. And Mira follows Troop as the last defender to go off the board. On Villa, a very stable operator to extend out around the map, and that will be taken away from both teams when they're on the defense. It's gonna be TSM starting an attack, Soniqs defending. Round number 1. Kitchen Dining. Could we see a bit of a change up here? Statistically, we always see AVG first. Doesn't matter what team, what region, but this time around, tertiary bomb site is where we start.
Do you consider this the tertiary bomb site? Because I feel like a lot of teams use Kitchen and Trophy interchangeably.
I would agree with you. They do use them interchangeably, but I would always say that when you have 2 floors above to play out in a similar fashion with a similar pick rate as the, so to speak, tertiary Kitchen bomb site, yeah. Also, if you want to look like long-term, since Villa first came to Pro League, that's where you saw AVG and Trophy, you know, very hard statistically being the number 1 and number 2 preference bomb site. So maybe I'm just an old dog. Maybe I'm like kind of sticking to what used to be the norm. But I would agree with you, Parker. You could use it as a secondary bomb site.
In your defense.
Okay.
If we go to Siege GG and we look at the pick rate of bomb sites on
just this event?
For just this event.
Okay.
It is the tertiary bomb site.
There it is.
You may fist bump.
I may fist bump myself, but
in terms of Villa, if you're looking at the actual round-by-round breakdown, this map has been played 6 times, 70 rounds in total. So you're looking at about 11 to 12 round average for Villa, which means that this is not a quick map. We tend to see teams go as far into regulation as you can. There is no unlimited overtime for those of you that are following at home. So when you go to OT, it's just a simple 3 rounds that we are accustomed to outside of the major. 56% of those 70 rounds have been won by the defense, which means that that is a fairly defender-sided map, but not as defender-sided as some of the others that we tend to see. This bomb site, Kitchen and Dining, has been played 16 times, and its win rate on defense matches the overall win rate of Villa. Villa, 56% of rounds won by the defenders. Same with Kitchen, 56% of the rounds played on Kitchen down below won by the defense. That means that Soniqs, just in terms of basic numbers, should have a small advantage.
TSM starting attack can be troublesome for them. Want to get as many rounds as possible. Every single round here matters for them. One thing that's going to make that harder is that Sledge ban, because Achieved is going to be out 2 grenades every single round, and those often find opening kills for TSM. And vertically speaking, I mean, Buck is equally good to Sledge, but it's going to be comfortability taken off the board. And Soniqs, they open things up and they take down Snake as the opening kill.
TSM fighting against the numbers on this bomb site, but now also staring down a small deficit.
Taking a look around.
Achieved on the Buck is a familiar sight, though. That's one thing to note. This used to be his staple operator back when Achieved made his debut in Pro League, playing on that Accelerate Gaming roster. People remember that all the way back in the day. And he did so when Buck had grenades. At one time, there was a very real discussion as to whether or not Achieved was the best Buck in the world. And I mean, obviously, Buck's pick rate has fallen off significantly after losing those grenades, but you still find him on different bomb sites because of what he can apply in terms of that vertical presence. And the one thing that Sledge can't do is he can't really do any damage from below. Buck is going to be able to make some significant noise when the bomb sites do go upstairs.
TSM running on the clock now, right now, 35 seconds. Soniqs again to these strong aggressive positions. They can go for her flank, but the timing, it favors Bolo instead. Yellow pin came out, they had information.
Geo facing his former team and former teammate in Bolo is the first casualty for Soniqs. 20 seconds left in the round. Gasher holding on to the case. Will need to be escorted in. The 2 big guns from TSM, Merc and Bolo right now, have not made much progress getting on in. Bolo softened up Merc as well. SQ far enough back, allowing TSM to walk in towards the bomb site. Bolo finds a way, but it's the Capkin traps to do some serious damage. Gasher with Diffuser will get picked off by Kansan in the dying moments of the round. Soniqs start off with a victory on defense.
The thing is, you're always going to be fighting the clock when you're on the attacking side, and that's when Capkin excels, especially on Villa. There are so many doorways, multiple floors, even in the basement you can put down those Capcom traps. I mean, when you talk about starting sides, defense or attack, I always make the argument that for the first time on the stage, so quarterfinals, there's a slight advantage, to me at least, on starting on the defense. You can get comfortable in your chair, on the setup, in the server, set up the problem for the attackers to solve, and just watch them how they approach it. Because, I mean, look at that round. Half the battle for TSM was simply being fast enough and proactive enough to get to the bomb site with enough time to spare to actually get something done. When they got to the bomb site, it was sub 10 seconds. Chaos ensues, and as you saw, Capcom traps, they blow up. 2 of them that round, in fact, taking off half HP from 2 different members, and, well, they ended Bolo's life entirely inside of that memo room.
It's one thing that I want to fixate on. Obviously absent from the lineup from Soniqs on this particular round, Nick, is the prevalency of Capcom against TSM. They had to deal with TSM, or they had to deal with Capcom in most of TSM's group stage matchups.
Yep.
And the one that really jumps to mind, of course, is their match against Team Liquid, when they were dealing with Capcom traps, and they were just struggling to find that info on where they would be. There's already been 1 EDD kill so far when Bolo didn't check the bottom of the door frame inside a Memorial. You think that's just that TSM are a bit too sluggish, as you talked about how strong the EDDs can be in the later rounds? Or do you think there's something more to it, with TSM just maybe not being the most proficient? Oh my, hold that thought for a second. Because Merc's gonna hold that L. Rexon picks him off over towards Study. A grenade was tossed in by the Yana, and Merc is 0-2 to start off this match.
I will say Soniqs are so good at just applying pressure towards TSM at every single chance they get. And I mean, TSM, they're storming in top main, but Soniqs, they've surrendered this ground, and Geo has a nice angle on this Bartis to hold top main position.
Rexon and Geo holding similar positions. The 3 separate players from TSM can very easily fall in. In fact, the whole team is in that part of the map. Gunner's the one to take some damage. Bolo reads on to Geo. He's yet to die. Gasher in 2. Both players from Soniqs who were holding Aviator in games, which is not the bomb site, but is where they were playing. That's great for TSM. They managed to push off those Soniqs players that were holding map control outside of the bomb site, and they have an advantage now because of it.
That's exactly what you want to be doing. The risk when you extend as a defender is that if it isn't successful, you're going to play at a man deficit. They did get Merc early on, but you lose 2 members and half HP and Gunner to trade it off. That's not good for you. I imagine the Soniqs, they're going to be aggressive here. Gotta try and leverage back the numbers and find an advantage somewhere on this map. You have no C4s, no impact grenades, no smoke. I mean, frankly, all you have to work with right now are gunplay. And Grixter, he whips every single bullet and takes so much damage himself.
Gunfire being exchanged, and TSM trading out a lot of HP. Bolo with 3 kills, 5-1 so far. Kansan's pulled off clutches before, but he's got the daunting task of getting back up the top of the stairs, and he might turn his back to that window at the top of Astro. A drone goes by, but does not see him. Oh, Kansan somehow manages to get away. Does damage to Snake in the process on Repel. Doesn't see the elbow of Achieved. They started off the round strong, but TSM falter through the mid-round, and TSM end up gaining their first round.
TSM playing a very nice, slow and calculated late round on that. With 40 seconds left on the clock, they didn't need to push anywhere without knowing where Kansan would be playing. So they started droning it out. They saw he's on Astro Staircase, and sure, Achieved had been slipped by there in towards Bathroom, but he's still going to be stuck in that location after that fact. And worst case for TSM, they lose a member as they just did, but the plan goes down, the crossfire is there, and Kansan not in a position with enough room to get those final 3 kills. That means TSM, they take the round. Just gonna change things up. Why go trophy again? Because you got more places that you have to go to. Library, that 4th bomb site, we have not really seen it being played out, I believe, at all this major so far, and that's not uncommon. But if there was a time to bring it out, it would be in those high pressure moments like the quarter, semi, or grand finals. Instead, it's gonna be that trustworthy AVG defense. Asami, noteworthy operator, can really shape up the bomb site and the roam game as well if you want to assist that. Rexon is opting for the Frost. No deployable shield in pocket. It's going to be a bulletproof camera instead to grant you that information. That's likely because the Valkyrie is banned from TSM.
The previous round, we saw the extension up towards Study. It was a offside hold. because of the bomb site being that aviator game site, as you mentioned, you're going to want to hold on to study for as long as possible. You might fall off of it if you feel like that's where the main focus of TSM is going to be, but Soniqs don't just have a single point of focus on study, they've also got some players over towards bedroom. Gunner, who was playing in that position, now finding some safety with the Kiba barrier. TSM gets their first pick of the game, and it's onto the roaming Rexen that we'd seen before.
That's why this time is so strong, both in the roam and the bomb set itself. I mean, look at this. A single Kiba barrier is stalling TSM so hard in this window position. And they did toss out a grenade towards the door location, so the Kiba barrier stays alive. Because Bolo found that opening kill, though, they can now take their time and slowly progress to master bedroom. And Bolo finds another onto Kansen. Gunner, he has to get aggressive now.
Round number 1 went so well for Soniqs, but they've kind of lost the plot at this point. Grixer decides for an engagement against Achieved. They both lose some HP in the process. Nobody from the Soniqs above half HP. Gunner spotted from down below. Achieved still holding in this position. Geo and Grixer the last 2 left. Grixer must have made a call that Memorial was being held by TSM, but whether it was or wasn't relayed, doesn't work out for Gunner.
Didn't seem like it was communicated at all because he's sprinting towards that area, and Achieved did a good job of just playing really passive, waiting for Soniqs to come to him because you don't want to throw that man advantage early on.
This is a waiting game at this point for Soniqs. 5v2 favoring TSM, looking for their second round in a row. It's their map, remember that. Geo finds the Gemini, shoots it away, but intel as to where one of the 2 remaining players from Soniqs are is now given to TSM, and it's Bolo in the hunt, 7 kills. That's a big tally at this point. That's the real deal, but Bolo trying to refrag does so successfully. Last one is Grixer. He was engaged with Achieved a minute before. Took a while, but finally Achieved gets his kill, and with it, TSM take the lead.
It's worth noting that TSM, statistically, throughout this entire tournament of groups so far, they don't really have like an outstanding performer when it comes to like the pure plus-minus in terms of KD. Snake is +5, Achieved is -1, Bolo is neutral, he's on 0, -4 Gasher, -2 Merc. It's not like you shut down one member of TSM and now they're gonna fall apart. No, it's every single member being so close to one another statistically on the scoreboard that it's a full team performance. Whereas when it comes to Soniqs, you got Rexen, he's +10 in KD. He's also in rating, the 3rd highest rated player, 1.29. In terms of clutches, 3rd most clutches with 3 on the board. So there is an outstanding performer from the side of Soniqs. Grixer, of course, 2nd on the board, then Gunner, then Geo, then Kansen. Kansen in particular had a really tough time during groups, so we gotta keep an eye on him. Right now he's doing just fine. 3, 2, and 1 on the board, not bad at all. Top gunning for his team, but also just round number 4 is about to begin. Anything can happen, but as we continue on, that's where my eyes will be on the side of Soniqs.
Attacker's bomb diffuser has been dropped.
This lineup for Soniqs, lots of trap operators, lots of ways to slow down TSM. They like this Nook play. Nook obviously having a strong presence on maps where a deep and late entry can work effectively. You look at Bank, for example. You can look at certain parts of Clubhouse. You can look here on Villa, where the entire bottom floor of this map is unused by teams more often than not. Yeah, you might see a pulse down there. The odd time you see a Caveira, there is a very real ability for her to work the basement and pounce upon an unsuspecting attacker. A Nook works the same way, but for the attackers as well. You can sneak in through the basement, walk up Astro stairs, and as long as there's no Capcan Traps, Goo Mines, or Banshees on the board, you're going to go undetected. Good news for Soniqs, you got all 3 of those operators. So plenty of ways to stop down Achieved, plenty of ways to slow down and stop Achieved. Ultimately, should he choose to get in the building quickly. Grixer, the first one to take some damage. He's on a roam by Memorial. Kansen spotted by Bolo, who's now in the middle of the bomb site. He hits an EDD and another again. Bolo really needs to check those door frames. It's his 2nd death to a Capcan Trap so far through 4 rounds. Merc was almost in the middle of the bomb site. He's swatted away by Geo. TSM wanted to get in quickly. They did so, but they've now lost 3 of their players. Soniqs, just like the last time they defended this bomb site, with a very big upper hand.
I mean, Soniqs' bomb site is rather weak, and Bolo knew that from that drone information, but what he did not check or did not get droned for him was the doorway. And he got hit by the first Capcom trap and then was under fire from a member of Soniqs on the dining bomb site. Couldn't take the time he needed to check that second doorway. Gambled the 50-50, is it clear or not? Well, it wasn't. One went off in each doorway, he got taken down, and TSM are getting punished once again. And this sledge ban, it's forcing TSM to change how they play the game because Achieved is not on the sledge, so he has to get frag grenades to utilize his positions as normal, but he's on the nuke instead, going for flanks. He's not with the main roster and the core members of the team. Gasher and Snake now, they gotta find a round out of nothing. It's a great start, 3v2 with 40 seconds.
Gasher and Snake, the two new additions to TSM. How poetic it would be if Geo ends up as the last one standing for Soniqs. It might just happen. Snake goes down, Geo getting his revenge. Gasher's way into the bomb site is cleared because of Bolo taking out the EDDs, but the Capkin, whose traps had been so effective in that spot, sits, replacing them and gets the final kill. For Soniqs to go perfect on this kitchen bomb site, we won't see the defense come back here. It will be locked for the remainder of this half. And right now, for Soniqs, it's the only bomb site that they've been successful on.
Has been so far, and kind of for the same reason as well. Capcom traps are just shutting down Bolo, and if we look at the scoreboard, that's kind of the name of the game right now, because I think Bolo's on 8 or 9 kills. Yeah, 9 and 2. So if Bolo keeps walking to Capcom traps, that's an easy done deal for Soniqs. But on the AVG and Trophy bomb side, it's less common to see Capcom as an operator being played out because there are fireless doorways. We're talking about staircases, window repels, and of course, the main breach either in study or in the room of master bedroom, as we saw last time this bomb site was defended. So I want to see TSM try and get more together as a team, because Achieved on the nuke, he has to do it, right? He needs those frag grenades, but when you play the nuke, you don't want to be with the main roster. You want to be off on your own, going for flanks. It's not working out whatsoever. So I love the fact that Gasher right now is hovering the Ying instead to try and enable the members of TSM to start that execute. Because unless Bolo walks and just kills people, they're not really going anywhere. Merc has been unsuccessful in the opening kills entirely, 0 and 4, hasn't won a single gunfight. That's uncommon for him, but if he starts winning those instead, or if TSM can change their approach to these rounds, that could easily be the way back in to get this last, or not the last 2 attacking rounds, both of which would be very important for them, as Villa favors the defenders.
Aviator comes a lot earlier than in the first rotation. Nick, why do you think that is?
Come again?
Aviator shows up in the rotation earlier.
Yeah?
I said, why do you think that is? Instead of going to Trophy Statuary as their secondary bomb site and using Aviator as the tertiary, Soniqs have decided they want to go back to it sooner than before. Why do you think that is?
Why do you think that is?
What do you think it is? Do I need to say it?
No. Sorry, I got you. I think it's not easy to hold AVG, naturally speaking, Bolo 10 kills to his name, because you can extend out more comfortably. I mean, if you compare just like the bomb sites themselves, Trophy, Statue, not the greatest bomb site to hold, so it's all about the extending on the roam game. That's how Soniqs they fell. Look at this bomb sites, right? AVG and Bar. It's a lot easier to play 2, 3, 4 members in this small box on your screen, and you can just hold this area. Toxic Babe, C-Force, Verticality, and Soniqs, they got all of them.
To back up your point, the only bomb site on Villa that has a positive win rate for the attackers is Trophy Statuary.
Oh.
56% of the time, which seems to be a reoccurring number. Yeah. 56% of all rounds played on Villa prior to this match won by the defense. 56% win rate for the defenders on Kitchen Dining. 56% win rate for the attackers on Trophy Statuary. Yeah. Aviator Games, 64% of all rounds played on this bomb site, and it is the most played bomb site on Villa in the Major, and it's got a 64% win rate for the defense. That is pretty good. Explosive goes in from Bolo, final minute, but a Kiba barrier immediately impedes his path into the bomb site. Gunner trapped in study. He's got a hole in the ground to look through, but he's got presence that might be on the balcony. Has to worry about the window. And Bolo is on the other side of that door. Achieve just sees one and gets a little bit cute.
That's huge.
Nade. Big pick by Gunner. 30 seconds left, another kill from Bolo. He's in the midst of the smoke, taking damage, has to fall off. And he gets caught in the crossfire. Grixer shutting him down. Diffuser surrendered. Candelas go out. Grixer lined up and knocked down. Bleeding out. Still a human drone at this point. Able to make some calls. That leaves just Kansan and Geo. Geo looking desperately for the recovery. Won't be able to get it. From inside of Study, Kansan doing some damage, but he's picked off. Geo's the only one left against his former team. Blinded by the Candela and pounced upon by Gasher and Merc as the diffuser goes down. TSM grabbed 3 of the rounds so far and in the first half have denied Soniqs the possibility to win their first half.
Realistically speaking, TSM should have never won that round the moment the Chief died on that Study window rappel. Because when that happens, it means all the 4 remaining members of TSM, they're all stuck on the same side of the map. Oh no! No! An impact grenade hits the wrong area and a member of Soniqs and the area of
not just
damage.
one member.
Yeah, well it hits one and it spreads, right? Area effect damage, half HP on both members. Looks like it hit Kansan first because he took more damage, but Grixer was right next to him. They both take it. That's unfortunate. That is actually changing with next season as the prep phase damage has been removed entirely.
Excellent change.
Excellent change because moments like these, I mean, you can argue it's a player mistake, sure, but it's not really fair, is it? And they've done the Thunderbird duck down, you've been laughing.
The amount of times that we watch team kills occur at this level, it seems like the lion's share of them are done during the prep phase.
Yeah.
An errant shotgun blast as you're trying to set up something. A nitro cell if you want to open something up. Because believe it or not, there are teams that don't bring enough soft destruction and it necessitates a nitro cell to open up a rotation or a certain part of the map early on. Doesn't happen that often, but we've seen team kills from it. We see team damage done with impacts, even though they don't directly kill. Kansan and Grixer are now at the point where most of these guns on TSM's side will kill them or at least down them in a single hit. You don't have the ability to engage in gunfights with that same level of confidence if you were at full HP. Additionally, you're going to see a lot of spam through the walls. A bullet shot through the wall, even one, is enough to basically put Kansan and Grixer into down but not out, depending on what gun it is and where they get hit. So that's a damning blow for Soniqs and not where they want to start off this very pivotal round.
You're right, especially how they play. I mean, look at Rex. He was half HP. Would he take those initiations? I don't think so. Impact comes out. It shuts down that Selma charge. But TSM, they're storming up the main stairs instead. This roam extension, they gotta fight for their lives.
Look at Bolo. There he is again, but the proximity scanner will give his position away. Alarm goes off. Wasn't too far away from Gunner. Kiva barriers denying entry to that same window. Bolo long range. Trying to deal with Gunner in that spot by 90, but instead will go on to drones. Soniqs firing away. Geo had not very much intel. Gets the down onto Merc, but isn't successful in taking out either player from TSM. Gasher is able to get that first pick for TSM and get Merc back from the dead. That's a major win for TSM on their first engagement.
I bet you're there. Geo said, I got one, I got 2, but then right before he gets that confirmation, he gets shut down instead. And as you mentioned, Merc gets up on his feet, 20 HP, but Geo, such a blow in that round. And Kansan and Grixer, they're still alive, but they're such low HP from that impact grenade earlier. It's troublesome for Soniqs.
Merc with his low HP, spotted on a cam, sees the Azami of Gunner. Gunner wins that, walks away with 30% of his HP gone, but still standing. Nade from below, does it successfully clear out the Kiva? We don't know. Great shot from Kansan on Astro Stairs, down goes Achieved. Grixer and Kansan with that limited HP are still in dangerous position, but TSM are just walking into their doom. Bolo with 11 kills is the only one standing. 4 players to find. 30 seconds to go. Not a wealth of time at his disposal. He doesn't have a lot of intel. Sees ahead, but he cannot outduel Grixer. Low HP, I guess it doesn't matter for Soniqs because neither of those injured players fell during the entirety of the round. And the first half goes 3-3, both teams taking their rounds for themselves. And we are, again, like we've said so many times, no closer to seeing which of these teams comes out ahead.
it appeared to me like TSM was starting to play off pace in that final round on their attacking side because they weren't actually ready setup-wise for any sort of execute on towards the bomb side. Nobody astropel to shut down a couple of angles. Nobody at Master Bedroom balcony to take control over Master Bedroom or bathroom itself. It was all members on the top red staircase walking through a single door. And moments before that happened, Merc had just swung deep on Trophy bomb side and he got shut down by Gunner. So you're already playing 4 versus 4. It's not like you can overpower the bomb side without having a man advantage, at least not without finding an opening somewhere, which right now it appears only really to be Bolo who's able to do that, at least on the attack. But things will change now as Sideswap comes through, and Achieve, he himself has been playing a lot of Capcom during group stage. Let's see if they can do as much damage to the players of Soniqs as they did to TSM. We had some memes during group stage from Heroic, Uno, who, when they played against TSM, he said, GG's TSM, the hardest opponent in the server was the Capcan traps. And then TSM themselves, just, 2 days later, they are running to every single trap possible. It seems to be a common problem for players at this event. One, because time is running low, because of how aggressive defenders are playing. And two, not every single team has as big of a priority on droning out those areas when you clear a room. Whenever you go through a room with a drone, check the door, check above the door for the trap, check every single corner for a Valkyrie camera in case Valkyrie isn't banned. If she is, don't gotta worry about it. I like the Jackal here being brought out because the roam game from TSM should have some presence, but the thing is, it's all upstairs right now for them, so nothing can be found on that first floor.
45 seconds into the very first defense for TSM, first attack for Soniqs. With the bend of this map, you would have expected Soniqs to have prevailed on their defense 4-2. That would have been in line with what we see out of Villa, but these are 2 evenly matched teams. And I mean, 56% in favor of the defense. Rounds 1 isn't a huge difference.
Capcan trap.
3v3 is definitely possible. Capcan's traps are very much the story against TSM, and now it's Soniqs who find out just how much fun they can be to deal with. First half, Soniqs got the first blood in rounds 1 and 2. TSM got first blood in the remainder. Despite that, they weren't able to fully convert. Not a lot of objective play whatsoever, and 3 bomb sites seen in rotation. Living Room Library has only been played a single time here at the Major, and we have not seen it in this matchup. I would be shocked if we do, but don't hold your breath. Crazier things have happened.
It's true. And then I guess they lost that defense because the bomb set is not good to play on.
Oh no, they won the defense.
They did win a defense?
100% success rate on that.
I take it back. That's the best bomb set in the game then.
I mean, statistically, it is the best bomb site on Villa.
Yeah, sure.
Not a big sample size though whatsoever. Aviator Games being the bomb site that we see right now in the defense with a small advantage in terms of numbers, gets pick number 1, a second follows up, but Gunner is able to do some damage for Soniqs, taking quite a bit of beatings in the process.
Also taking so much time again, 40 seconds, we just got to top red 90, and sure, Merc, he was holding that top red position, but it shouldn't take you this long to problem solve. And now, what a great grenade, oh my god!
Asher doesn't know it, but he actually stepped back into that as Pixar used yet another nade from below. No explosives remaining in the hands of Soniqs. Still the smokes from Jackal. The diffuser wants to go down. If there's some objective play.
That's risky.
Bolo decides to take the engagement. Down he goes. Grixer falls next. Rexon holding the diffuser in the midst of the bomb site. He gets something working, but it's the Nitro Cell from Achieved, and TSM win their very first defense.
I mean, that's kind of ridiculous. It's, again, TSM, they're kind of stealing these rounds, and Bolo, he's just going on the offensive time and time again, and really is the hero for his team because he has 12 or 13 kills now after that round, and I mean, Merc, he did such a good job staying alive in itself, massive value, but it's Bolo that's really making things happen for TSM. The lead is good. You said it, Parker, to your point, 56% favorite defenders. You would think Sonic should have gotten that 4th round, but in round number 5, it was Bolo, it was TSM stealing that AVG attack to make it a 3-3 tie. They're just gonna keep on taking what they can get. No Capcan on the board this time around. So hopefully, every single member of the attack inside of Sonic should be healthy once that execute comes around.
Nook's prevalence so far in this matchup cannot be understated. Using those grenades from below, we've seen both teams get some success at least being able to open up sight lines into the bomb site, if not get a pick with it. It's Gunnar with the Nook now on his side of things. If it wasn't for Bolo's performance, oh no, he can actually be spotted from that panel where he is. Look at that.
He's out.
That's a dangerous game to play for Snake. I do like that he's going for that gamble. I do like that a spawn peek is on the board for TSM. Good confidence and get under the skin of Soniqs. Why not? We'd like to remind you that this is TSM's map pick. So with it being a defender-sided map at the moment, and with it being picked by TSM, and TSM now having the advantage on defense, according to plan, we should go to 11 or 12 rounds and get TSM the win. That's if nothing changes.
Okay.
Soniqs knows that. They come in with the stats. The coaches have prepped the win rates for certain bomb sites, the win rates for these maps, and the win rates against their opponents, because while Villa might be 56% in favor of the defender rounds, it's possible that TSM have a poor defensive win rate on Villa. As we see teams in North America, some excel at attacks, excel at defenses, and this is information that Soniqs will have at their disposal. Still, the point being made, TSM are in the favorable position from here on out. They are on the better side to close out this matchup. And Soniqs will need to dig deep if they want to be able to not just keep pace, but possibly overcome that hurdle and take the win, pushing us to Theme Park, which is Soniqs' pick for map number 2.
Merc playing top red instead of near the breach is a bit of unfortunate for TSM because he has 2 spare impact grenades in his pocket that could have been used to deny that summer charge, or at least part of it. Instead now, bomb site under pressure from Master Bedroom Balcony, and Merc's position as well as Achieved, they're bad now. What was such a strong position is now, well, it's been broken apart. And Gunnar could make a huge play either with this grenade from below. Yellow ping is there. Gasher, you gotta move, buddy, otherwise you'll go flying.
This is the second time that Gasher's walked into that.
Yeah.
Not ideal.
You still hold on.
Second nade goes off, no target this time. But Soniqs, excellent play from down below. Frost is dead. Mats will still be up. Similar to the Capkin that we've seen be so successful up to this point, even if the operator is dead, those traps exist until the end. And Frost gains greater strength the longer that this round goes on, because you're not going to be checking for Frost mats, because you're going to be in a hurry. And you're not going to do that due diligence and figure out where a mat might be.
Speaking of speed, I mean, Soniqs gotta knock down that door on the bomb site because 20 seconds left. Gunnar gotta walk up that extra staircase, has to flank for now, but Gio, he goes first.
Oh my, Bolo looking the wrong way, and they'll breach in. What can Achieved accomplish? Absolutely nothing. Merc, the only one to get on the board so far. Snakes,
flank.
2! There's nobody watching Astro Stairs. Kansan's in a favorable position.
5 seconds.
But he's gotta grab that diffuser or go for the pick. Kansan decides to
1
go.
second.
And he gets it at the last possible second. Well played by Kansan, and just by the skin of his teeth, gives Soniqs the round.
I mean, I was talking earlier, the one member to keep our eyes on from Soniqs who statistically did not perform during groups was Kansan. He started strong, he was like 4-3, top fracking for his team. But that moment right there, that's a full-on round that he can add to the scoreboard just from that play. I didn't think there was enough time for to drop the hatch and go for that kill. And it's such a 50-50 for Snake, right? Either you go up the Astro Stairs and you risk getting peeked early, or you walk too far away from the bomb site where if the plant starts going down from Kansan, you don't have enough time to get back there. I would make the argument that in that particular position, because it was Oryx last alive, you can actually jump up the Astro hatch. You could have fallen further back towards kitchen dining or towards that shoe locker room instead. Because if you hear that plant being enabled, you can skip the Astro Stairs entirely and go up a hatch right next to the bomb site and then shut down the plant. These small details between which operator is alive can make a massive difference. But ultimately, Kansan, he steals it for his team.
5 seconds to go.
It's a great start for TSM though. Burning down that clock, holding down strong. They fell apart, however. In the flank, it almost paid off. Wasn't close enough though.
That could have been a heartbreaker for Soniqs. TSM going up 5-3 again. Winning out on defense, picking up a victory on Aviator, and then picking up a victory on Trophy. But yet it is denied. With that win on round number 7 for TSM, defending Aviator, that means that the 3 main bomb sites shown on Villa have all been won by the defense at least one time.
A little bit disappointed that no Capcans on the board for this round on this dining defense. Neither is the pulse. Damage goes on to Snake instead, though. Gunner on that top red window repel. He had the rotation.
I'd be kind of miffed on that one. I'm failed to see how Snake was able to walk away with his own life. Oh, Bolo's getting real tricky right now. He lost the deployable shield on the bedroom bed. Bolo steps up to fill that void himself. He's been exceptionally good for his team, though. He's slowing down a little bit. He might get pre-fired, but he engages. Gunner takes out Merc. Gunner just missing out on that opportunity to kill Snake earlier on. He had a slow start for his team, but now Gunner's picked up the pace and is the closest player on Soniqs to break into double digits.
Yeah, Bolo not just playing well, but playing aggressive, right? He's the only real stopping force for Soniqs. He's always slowing them down wherever he is in the map, whereas, well, where Merc is, normally he just kind of falls to the ground and buys Soniqs time instead. Gunner, the only member with grenades on the board, is across the map from his team and cannot help them break anything. But Soniqs, they've gotten map control. They can start doing that vertical damage destruction on towards the bombs that is going to be cancelled on the buck. But because he's not the sledge, you can't use any grenades. Because Gunner is the lurker, so to speak, again, you have no real utility to use.
When it was Soniqs on defense, Memorial was the playground for TSM. Walk right in, get a pick or two.
Oh.
Nitro Cell from Gasher connects on to Geo, and that's Diffuser down as well. Foot just clipped through the floor there. Another Nitro Cell goes off quite so successfully. Bolo picks up lucky number 13 on the stairs. Soniqs got that first pick onto Merc, and they have nothing else to show for it. Rexon has to retrieve the Diffuser. He's playing up top. Grixer's in the basement. The bomb site, however, is in between the meat of the sandwich, if you want to continue on with that pun. Top floor being the bread, bottom floor being the other side of it. Only 15 seconds left. Rexon will have to drop through the hatch into laundry and then get into the bomb site if the play is to get
10 seconds remaining.
that Diffuser down, maybe a pick or two to start off with. TSM lose Gasher, but down goes Rexon. Grixer will need to find all the kills. He gets one, but they're just going to wait out the time. Bolo and co hang on, and well, this has been a back and forth for these teams. TSM regain the lead.
Round by round, one at a time. The flank right now for Soniqs is a big problem. 2 rounds in a row now. Sure, Kansan clutched that trophy attack, but the flank is what enabled Snake to get into that clutch position. And in this round, dining attack as well. Bolo flanks bottom red stairs, wins a gunfight, gets bomb site control, gets a second kill afterwards with the execute. Nomad might be brought, more flank drones, or just more priority from Soniqs to focus on that area of the map that is going to be the flank. TSM, they're changing operators quite a lot on this defensive side. Gasher, the only really stable operator and consistent pick throughout this match is Smoke. Then Achieved, play some Castle, play some Capkin, whichever. Merc, usually on utility duty right now, always picking one area of the map that he cares about. Top red for this bomb site last time, just sits there, waits. And then it's Snake and Bolo. They get more freedom, right? Bolo wants to play Warden this round, we give Bolo Warden. Wants to play Jaeger, give him the Jaeger. Snake has had not a quiet game, he's 6-6, but it feels like we haven't said his name much because he's just kind of there, floating around. But he has found those kills for himself. Geo has brought out the Capital, the first real execution-based operator for Soniqs so far. Was Gasher and the Ying for TSM. It's going to be the Fire from Geo instead. Good drone work from Soniqs. They know the whereabouts of one member. If you can get as many drones as possible into the building without losing them in the process, you can create a network. This is clear, that is clear, etc. They can practically guess that Snake has to be inside a bathroom or living room because of that drone work earlier on. He figures it out, he runs away, but he kills a drone in the place instead.
They're going to turn out the bathroom where Snake is playing on that bottom floor. Spoke of Gunner and how he's picked things up on this second half. He's a relatively inexperienced player when Soniqs took a gamble on him, adding him to the roster to replace Yeti. Well, I suppose Gunner was actually replacing Super.
Yeah.
And then Geo ended up replacing Yeti.
Technically speaking, yes.
Technically
just
speaking.
not in roles.
That was the series of events, obviously. And Gunnar had some issues at the start of this stage of the NAL with being a bit too ballsy and getting picked off early with nothing to show for it. Snake to do it this time. He'd wanted a spawn peek earlier in this second half, couldn't find it, goes for the jump out, gets punished.
Well, I like the aggression. I have to question, when time is on your side, 5 versus 5, and you're the supportive roam cast from TSM, is it worth throwing your life away for a 50-50 without any proper information? I'm not sure. Either way, Capcan Trap goes off again. It's an injury onto Gunnar. It just keeps on happening. What should they do, Park? Is it IQ time? Just scan every doorway? What do you do?
Develop eyes.
And drones, yeah.
Develop eyes. You have so much time left, and yet you're just not looking at these door frames. Is it possible that Achieved never got droned down? They just weren't aware there was a Capcan on the board? I mean, that's entirely
possible, yeah.
Even though Gunnar had been down by that, he wasn't killed, so... Oh no, the man who'd gotten him up and got the very first pick as well was Kansan. He goes down, trading out. Geo taking some damage. Gunnar still
Bolo
playing around the door frame, takes out Geo, but TSM unfortunately get a team kill. Doesn't matter, they find 2 more in quick succession. Rexon is outside of study, hops in, gets murked, but that's info. They know he's inside a study, and those toxic babes could keep him at bay. Gasher has none left. A flash as Rexon's in the middle of the bomb site, but Achieved was in a tight corner, and that's TSM on match point on their map.
I was gonna say, it was a very clutchable round in that 1 versus 2, but without any information to work off of. It's a guessing game. I mean, you saw that, again, the aggressive play from Snake must have had some sort of information as to the whereabouts of a member, but it was wrong. Bolo, again, the star, gets 2 kills in a 1 versus 3 position while being taken damage from his team member's Toxic Babe, while getting flashbanged, has to force the gadget on, and somehow still makes it work with that SMG-12 with high recoil on a very far away target.
16 kills for Bolo.
Yep.
I know that you might get tired of us talking about one of the biggest stars in all of this esport, but with 16 kills against one of the best teams in North America this year, Soniqs were actually the best team in North America last year. They won the NAL finals and then have been so consistent this year. Obviously not as good as they were, but still near the top. The fact that Bolo can just absolutely flatten them is a pretty good thing. Soniqs will take their time out with how even this matchup has been. I think now's the time to do it, because when it was 5-4 in favor of TSM, it had been such a seesaw of a match that very easily could have ended up going back to a 5-5. And in that case, you might want to keep the timeout for when it is most critical. I would say at this point in time, the stage of the matchup, this is pretty critical.
When you start seeing match point and you have less rounds, it's very, very critical. I would say from Soniqs' side, I mean, looking at the maps being Villa into Theme Park into Clubhouse, I feel like if Soniqs would have been Villa, it would almost guarantee them to win the series. Because TSM, not historically known to be a great theme park team in the NAL. We all know the memes. They lost it like 4 times in a row. And Clubhouse is statistically Soniqs' best map at this event and overall, which means historically, they're the ones to win that map. So it's almost like the quote-unquote expected outcome for TSM to win Villa. At the very least, if they don't, it's trouble for them. It just means it's a close series. I mean, 6-4. It's as close as it gets almost before entering OT. Merc has really struggled to find success, I will say, though, on this map of Villa. And it's a map into a playstyle where Merc as a player typically thrives. It's a big open map. You can take gunfights left and right. You can either fall back or fight for your ground. But he's 3-9, and he was playing those kind of like, you stay here till you die positions on 1 mile, on top red stairs, etc. Now he's been given a little bit more freedom on the Vigil. A very stable and comfortable operator for him. We all know that when TSM plays Bank, which Soniqs banned against him for this match, by the way, it's always Merc on Vigil, running around, activating the scanner, keeping them guessing as to where he might be. He's in that basement that you spoke of, Parker, waiting for his time to go for that flank, which they know that Soniqs, they aren't typically watching. Merc could be the star player for this match point round.
The the lineup that we've seen these teams bring hasn't really been a dedicated flank watch operator. When you look at the ops that can fill that void, I mean, the newest operator, Grim, is quite literally a flank watch operator. Hasn't been played here yet, but then you've also got Nomad being the most prevalent. You've got Zero, who shows up on a couple maps with those Argus cams designed specifically either for entry or to cover a flank, and then you've got Gridlock as well. These teams foregoing that, instead bringing this Nook as a largely flex op, and instead they want to go for direct action. Why do you need a flank watch if you just kill everybody on the bomb site, right? I mean, that's how it works.
Sure. But it's cost you so far. I mean, Nuke, again, you need that second set of grenades. This grenade could be the difference maker, but no, it misses. No clear information gate, but now Merc knows someone is down here.
Oh, Merc just missing out, but he might not have a lot of kills, but instead providing high value with that one. 4 and 9 on Merc is a tremendously poor result for him. But
what?
Rexon decides to go onto drone. Achieved reads that one out so well. He's very up in your face. Now it's Kansan to go on, but there's going to be a bit of fear in the hearts of these SQ players. If you go on to drone, are TSM going to swing you because of it? That is the question.
It's very simple and small mistakes being made from Soniqs, but TSM are capitalizing so well upon it. And now Kansan, Geo, and Griggs, we gotta clutch it up.
Well, Soniqs get on the board. No flawless round to be had. None yet that we've seen. A stun onto Achieved, still prone on the ground. He gets swung on. Grixer pouncing on that opportunity. Now walking into the bomb site. Bolo will be called into action. Losing it. Grixer hits that shot. Merc had gotten one on the Kansan as well. 2v2. Time not on the side of Soniqs. Geo going for the plant. He's going to be vulnerable. Grixer will need to watch, and with how good Grixer has been before, you can bet on him to watch so safely, but Snake on the flank takes him down. Grixer shouldering off a lot of damage. Timer running. Crowd starting to chant TSM. Can it give some power towards Grixer? Sitting inside of the bathroom. He's looking in the wrong direction. He's downed. They just need to hop on the diffuser. The smile on Snake's face tells the whole story. And TSM will win their map 7-4 and go up 1-0 in the series.
When Grixer and Geo are in that 2v2, I mean, Geo's got an easy job. Hold F and hope that Grixer can just stay alive and make something happen. Being shot from 2 different angles, it's too difficult for him. The tank goes down, sure, the first one of the series. Doesn't make a difference though. Post plant, not good enough.
It started off with Bolo toying and playing with his food. And despite how close that match ended up being,